First time I really noticed that I had depression was whenever I was in college. I was in the tech doing an art foundation course, and I found it was just by chance that a friend had mentioned to me that I sounded like I was depressed. So I ended up googling the actual term for depression, and it really hit home that it was things. But I never took that particularly seriously. I mean, yes, depressed, but that just means sad. Do you know what I mean? That's all that means. And I'd been so used to dealing with everything because looking back, I would recognise that I would have been depressed from at least GCSE level. I found, my work, I was never able to concentrate. I was never able to do things. If I was working on projects, I'd find them always slipping. So the first time I really realised was around tech, and I never took it seriously. When I finally took it seriously was about 18 months ago, and I'm 30 now. So that's whenever I finally realised that, something could be done, and I wasn't just having this wasn't my lot. This wasn't all I was getting. There was more.
And what sort of way would it have affected you? How did it manifest itself?
Well, I remember I used to listen to a lot of very sad songs when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? And I would relate so much to those. And I used to feel that everyone felt that way and everyone got that down. So whenever I was younger, I had a lot of associations which I felt were normal, and I didn't feel anything wrong. But I would find myself being very manic and extremely creative, but not being able to put those talents to any use whatsoever because I wouldn't have the energy, the motivation, or just any ability to follow through on a lot of the ideas that I had. So 18 months ago, I finished a bad relationship, and I didn't deal with it very well because I literally threw everything at the wall to try and make it stick, and that was silly. I mean, there's no other way about it. And a friend of mine talked me through it, says, this extreme reaction isn't right. You need to go try this because this will change how you feel. And I tried depression medication. Sertraline was the one that worked for me. I tried it, and I just felt for the first time in my life that I was able to compete. I felt like I'm on a level playing field to everybody else. I felt like this is people can go to bed without really, really getting down. I had suicidal thoughts for 15 years. I mean, that takes its toll on you. But for the first time in my life, I could go to bed and actually think about tomorrow. And I was doing stuff, and I was, creating stuff. Things were getting finished. Things which were never finished were getting finished. And it took a big period of readjustment. I slipped off the pills for a bit, and only recently, about 4 months ago, I started prioritizing, structuring, and realized that I've got a real good chance here. And I think right now I'm really excited about what can happen. So I've always felt myself very logical. I've always sort of tried to base life in quite a logical way. I think that has helped me quite a lot because I can now see what my body does and what my mind does, and I know there's a difference. I know that whenever I reset, my chemical level is below where it should be, which will give me feelings of depression. I know that is just simple as that. So I was doing very little. I mean, things like exercise really did help, but they were a short-term solution. Don't get me wrong, could do plenty more of it, but that would give me a short-term adrenaline and short-term fix, but wasn't a long-term solution. Still, whenever it came to nights, and still, especially the nights, they were the hardest ones to be able to deal with.
And what was nighttime? So what was it about nighttime that was difficult for you to deal with?
I think as your body slows down and comes to the end of the day, I find that's whenever it's hardest to deal with what you've got to. Your thoughts will catch up on you. you'll have doubts about what you've done tomorrow. You'll have regrets about what you've done today. And you'll spend more time procrastinating and avoiding what you needed to do than you will take that feeling to bed and know that tomorrow is going to be the same. And it was just a cycle. And I genuinely thought that I could work within it. And now I just don't see why I lived that long without it, without trying something different.
And do you think that perhaps, even maybe where boys and men are concerned, do you think, I know that girls would tend to sort of talk to each other about how they feel and all of that. Were there opportunities for you to do that, or do you think that maybe it's more sort of think about it logically and get on with it?
I mean, being able to actually communicate as a guy, I found family was good, but there's only so much you felt prepared to reveal. And I felt that with a lot of male friends, you couldn't just straight up say that there's an underlying problem here, but you could express that you weren't enthused on certain ideas or not being able to. There's never truly an open dialogue with majority of people. A few select friends would know a little bit more and stuff. I find girls a lot easier to talk to because they find the emotion levels were easier to, communicate across. Now though, when I've started to recognize myself, I have no problem talking about it because I don't feel like it's something that I've any way to be ashamed of. I would now compartmentalize and say, if I can't do something, I couldn't go because my mind wasn't right for it. I needed that time. And you'd be surprised the amount of people that understand that. I mean, everybody, whether or not it's themselves or somebody within their family or friend group, will understand that frame of mind because it is so common, and everybody feels so personally about it, which it is a personal thing, but I think everybody misunderstands just how many people go through it. My triggers would be a lack of sleep is one thing. A lack of sleep, I knew that if I operated in very little sleep, and I got very little sleep with between lifestyle and keeping myself up at night, I got very little sleep, and that would always make me feel extremely low for extended periods of time. I could any trauma and expectation would really have triggered me quite a bit. If I had something to achieve, deadlines and stuff, I found myself pushing away from that and putting mental blocks on myself that I couldn't actually achieve any of my goals. I mean, I still manage that a little bit because I'm quite new to this feeling okay thing. So I temper my expectations, but that's one of my triggers. Another one of my triggers would be hydration, lack of exercise and diet, and honestly, those are less so than sleep in my eyes, but they do contribute a wee bit towards it as well. I genuinely find that trauma and stuff will be the biggest. I wasn't able to deal with those things because of my emotional levels. I was not able to deal with trauma, whether it be just an argument with a friend, or whether it be something more serious that I would have to close up to because the levels of emotions I was feeling was too strong to be able to deal with. Whereas now I'm able to just compartmentalize and be able to deal with it because my emotions aren't clouding everything that I'm doing. So that's how I feel.
So now what do you do if you feel that sadness coming?
Well, That's actually a perfect example because for the last couple of days I've definitely felt the low. But here's the thing, because I'm on these tablets, that low is a manageable low. That low is so much. This isn't a trough, a canyon of a low. This is just a dip in your moods, and honestly, I can enjoy it now. I used to. I don't really understand the best way to express it without being too glorifying the issue. But when you self-indulge in that depression, there's a certain glory, and you can relate to certain things. Your emotions are so much more heightened, and things are just so much more powerful. So that doesn't actually go away though. The thing that changes is that you get a chance to actually channel that. Like, I would write the exact same amount now as I would write beforehand, and I actually feel, maybe it's age, maybe it's being able to deal with things, but I would find that I'm a lot better able to structure things and recognize so that what I'm able to create is better than what I was ever able to create before. For the future now, I'm hoping to actually go on to be a counsellor. Ideally, I think it's something because I know myself, I've watched myself for so long, and the lows and the highs. I have friends that I recognise their symptoms, and I'm able to see that. And I think life is often viewed in black and white, but everything is shades of grey, no matter what you are, no matter who you're talking to. Everything is in shades of grey, and sometimes good people will do bad things, and sometimes bad people will do good things. That's because there isn't good people or bad people. There's only people. And you got to just, for me personally, I would like to be able to talk one-to-one with a lot of people. So I think along the counsellor or psychologist line is where I would like to see myself in 5-10 years time. Still doing my music on the side, and still doing my photography, and just being creative in every way I possibly can, but also trying to talk to people and communicate what I've been through, and not so much to tell them my story, but to help them find theirs.